legislative session of the Winnacunnet School District. And I want to begin by recognizing the Honorable Patricia O'Keefe to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to recognize the clerk, Shirley O'Keefe. And also members of the school board, Henry Marsh, Leslie LaFawn, Heidi Tarasina, Dave Fran Henderson, Bill Lupini, Bill McGowan, and Matt Ferrari are representing their work for the SAU. Well, Mr. McGowan is the principal. They are not residents of the district, but in order to help the district, the members here make a decision on the warrant articles, I'm going to recognize them and allow them to speak. Bob Pizzazzo is our legal counsel. We're going to ask people when they do speak to come up and identify themselves, come up to the microphone so that we can record that. And with that, also Mr. Tony Delano is the representative of the budget. So we'll begin. Article 1. Shall the school district raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with a warrant or as amended by vote of the first session, for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $28,569,586. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $28,389,340, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous actions of the school district or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:3, Roman numeral 10 and Roman numeral 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. This warrant article 1 was recommended by the school board 5-0, recommended by the budget committee 6-0. I'll recognize Mr. Marsh for a motion.
I move to open the article for discussion.
Mr. Gant for a second.
Second.
Article's been moved and open for discussion, and I want to recognize Mr. Delano to talk about the budget on behalf of the budget committee.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cushing. I am Tony Delano. I'm the Hampton Falls representative and chairperson for the budget committee. Thank you all for coming tonight. I'm going to read a short description of the budget this year. The Winnacunnet 2020-21 proposed operating budget provides funding and resource allocation that enhances academic programs to support all students. We feel that the budget reflects a commitment to providing an education that promotes creativity, innovation, critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and responsible decision-making. Further, the budget reflects continued implementation of the school board-approved competency-based education learning plan, technology plan, and facilities plan. The Budget Committee feels that the budget provides for the proper resource allocation while maintaining fiscal responsibility for a member town. As such, the proposed operating budget total of $28,569,586 reflects an increase of 3.57%, or a $984,632 increase from the 19 to 20 budget. The 3.57% increase is primarily due to 3 non-discretionary budgetary drivers, which represent $816,361 of the total $984,632 increase. This includes 1, special education, which increased by $433,210, representing increases for special education services and transportation for students' individualized education plans, as mandated by state and federal law. 2, Seacoast Education Association CBA salaries, which increased by $300,333, which includes the contractually mandated 2.75% cost of living adjustment, and step increases for the new collective bargaining agreement. And 3, ROTC salary, which increased by $82,818. However, this is merely a change in accounting practice for the federal U.S. Marine Corps reimbursement for ROTC salary as offsetting revenue as opposed to an account credit. There will be no tax assessment variance. However, the operating budget reflects the increase with the corresponding revenue increase. Removing the 3 increases would result in a slight 2020 to 21 budget increase of $168,271, or an increase of only 0.61%. Thank you.
I believe it's a PowerPoint presentation, Madam.
Thank you. My name is Matt Ferrer. I'm the business administrator for SAU 21. I'm going to briefly review the budget for Winnacunnet fiscal year 2020-2021. As we create any budget, we really take a look at our mission and what we attempt to achieve as a school district. Tony highlighted some of those overarching goals that we have as a school, and that was really the focus of the school board, was to look at how we could allocate resources and prioritize certain funding opportunities to achieve that ultimate goal. So ultimately, a budget is a reflection of the community's values, and we believe that this is what we're bringing forth in this operating budget. It does follow those Winnacunnet core values, beliefs, and learning expectations. So when developing a budget, a significant component is enrollment. You always have to take a look at trajectory of enrollments going forward, both to determine long-term and short-term budgeting initiatives. So what we do is we contract with the New England Council to contract enrollment projections. They provide us with those projections over a 10-year period, and then we budget accordingly. I will note that these are 2 years old, so we have included in the SAU budget to revisit and refresh those enrollment projections as we move forward. As you can see, Winnacunnet is projecting a slight decrease over the next 3 years. As Tony mentioned, the proposed operating budget is $28,569,586, which reflects a 3.57% increase, or $984,632 over prior fiscal year. There are 3 primary drivers, which Tony did mention. I won't go into those details again. However, the important point to take home is that there are some significant contractual and state and federally mandated costs embedded in this budget. And when the school board and the budget committee took a look at developing this budget, they already started at essentially this $816,000 deficit. So they took a hard look at the discretionary accounts and where we could minimize costs and where we would look for investments in accounts. They poured over this budget. They looked at every single line item and really took the tact of, if there was a discretionary account, they looked at past expenditure history. They looked at 3-year average, And if we're not spending those accounts, they did reduce them. So there are significant reductions in this budget on a line-by-line basis. And I applaud both the school board and budget committee for taking that route. So embedded in this budget is cost of living adjustments for 3 employee classifications. The first of which is our teachers union. Per the collective bargaining agreement that was passed in the last election cycle or ballot cycle, there is a 2.75% cost of living adjustment for all of our teachers, including their steps. Additionally, we have our paraprofessional bargaining unit, that is CESPA, Seacoast Educational Support Personnel Association. They are part of a separate warrant article that we will address later this evening. So they have no cost of living adjustment included in this operating budget as seen. The final unit is our non-union staff. This includes our administrators, our technology staff, our facilities staff, food service, and our office support staff. What we do for these non-union employees is we take a look at consumer price index, that measures inflation for this particular geographic region, and we benchmark it from the prior year. So from July 1st of 2018 to July 1st of 2019, inflation was at a rate of 2.0%. And what we do is we benchmark the cost of living to that figure. So we do have a 2.0% cost of living adjustment for those non-union staff members. So I will go into detail on this budget at this point by department and function, and just briefly address the significant increase or decrease, and then the reasoning for that variance. The first of which is regular education, which is budgeted at $7,119,913, which is an increase of $300,039 or 4.4%. So the primary driver for this increase is that C, collective bargaining agreement with associated salary cost of living adjustment and step increases. Additionally, there is that ROTC salary accounting adjustment that Tony mentioned. That has no effect on the taxpayer. That is merely a change in accounting practice as opposed to a credit. It is now being treated as offsetting revenue. But that is included in the budget but does not affect tax assessment. Additionally, we have an investment in equipment to supply a new marching band and a shared studio online portal initiative, which are really exciting initiatives that the faculty, which has come forth from the faculty from the ground up, and we're really excited for both of those initiatives to move forward. Our special education budget is at $3,942,297, which is an increase of $387,880, or 10.91%. So this increase is based on student need as dictated by individual education plan IEP services. And these services are mandated by state and federal law. So as we had mentioned earlier, these are some of these contractual fixed costs that we are unable to change. Our vocational programs are budgeted at $252,000, which is an increase of $52,140, or 26.09%. This increase reflects an inclusion of special education services into the tuition amount that we pay our Seacoast School of Technologies tuition rate, as well as the annual increase that the governing board determines. I will note that the special education increase is again more of an accounting adjustment that was previously a surcharge on top of the tuition that was included in the special education budget. However, now is that charge has been rolled into the actual tuition amount. So that money has been shifted from special education to this account, which reflects a significant portion of this increase. Our student activities account is budgeted at $883,669, which is an increase of $65, or 0.01%. The increase in student activities is primarily due to the addition of 3 athletic and 2 non-athletic stipends to accommodate increase in participation for Nordic and Alpine skiing, volleyball, and provide lighting and sound direction at the fall play and spring musical productions. Further, it is proposed to invest in a contracted service for strength and conditioning services, which would be similar to our athletic trainer that we contract through Access Sports Medicine. And in turn, we would eliminate the weight room supervisor stipend. These increases were offset by reductions in rentals, a reduction in officials, a reduction in speakers, a reduction in uniforms, a reduction in supplies. And these were all reduced, as I mentioned earlier, by actual expenditure history. We really took a hard look at the accounts where we could make reductions. So that's a net increase of $65. Our summer school budget is $69,400, which is a decrease of $1,600 or 2.25% decrease. This represents a reduction in supplies based on actual expenditure history. Our evening school is budgeted at $119,344, which is a decrease of $1,680 or 1.39% reduction. This is based on a reduction in salaries, due to actual expenditure history again. Our guidance account is budgeted at $869,222, which is an increase of $2,012 or 0.23%. This slight increase reflects the cost of living adjustment and steps as part of our collective bargaining agreement for our teachers, which was offset by reductions in testing, reductions in supplies based on actual expenditure history, as well as a retirement. Our health services account is budgeted at $141,271, which is a reduction by $2,570 or 1.79% decrease. And this reflects a reduction in supplies based on actual expenditure history, as well as a budgeting tactic for nursing substitutes because we are unable to acquire nurse substitutes. Our speech services is budgeted at $1. This is to keep the account open for potential future needs. Similarly, our other support services is also kept open with $1. Our improvement of instruction is budgeted at $412,406, which is an increase of $22,815 or 5.86%. And this reflects those salary cost of living adjustments per the collective bargaining agreement, step increases, as well as an adjustment to the professional services curriculum salaries that were based on actual expenditure history. Our educational media budget is $175,150, which is an increase of $4,915 or 2.89%. And the primary driver for this increase is due to the salary cost of living adjustment and step increases, which were offset by a reduction in the repair, maintenance, and equipment accounts based on expenditure history. Our information technology account is budgeted at $717,639, which is a decrease of $23,323 or 3.15% reduction. I will note that our information technology account does align with our school board approved technology plan. Our technology director does put together a very comprehensive technology plan, both as far as how our technology aligns with the curriculum and can best support our teachers and staff, but also to present a financial plan that can be rather steady, so there are not large fluctuations up or down going forward for 3 years. The decrease in this account is primarily due to savings in our information access fees. We're utilizing we've negotiated a new internet network services provider. Additionally, we do have a reduction in our software licensing. Our support services is budgeted at $63,500, which has no increase to the budget. Our Board of Education is budgeted at $69,051, which is a decrease of $1,604 or 2.27% reduction. And this reflects a reduction in the legal and annual meeting accounts to reflect expenditure history, and was offset slightly by an increase in our district officer salaries for board members and recording secretary. Our SAU services provides the central office administration across the street. This is a Winnacunnet Apportionment, which is budgeted at $867,084, an increase of $16,188 or 1.9%. This does reflect the new SAU model that looks to leverage the entire SAU, become an aligned and collaborative SAU as opposed to individual school districts. This is already reaping benefits with cost efficiencies, with shared resources, and particularly with curriculum work, where we're looking to implement our competency-based education initiative led by Dr. Hobbs, as well as our curriculum review program that we are moving forward with, to make certain that we are preparing students in all of our K-8 schools in a similar fashion to prepare them for graduation into Winnacunnet or other schools. I will note that the SAU budget was a flat budget. However, there is this slight 1.9% increase for Winnacunnet because the formula that is utilized to calculate the apportionment is based on enrollments and property valuation. So we did see some towns that had an increase in enrollment, some towns that had a decrease, as well as associated property valuation, although it was primarily the enrollment fluctuations. So Winnacunnet did see a slight increase even though the budget was flat. Our school administration account is budgeted at $876,100, which is an increase of $19,448 or 2.27%. So the primary driver for this increase was due to administrative salary cost of living adjustments and step increases, and these were offset by reductions in our rental lease equipment and postage accounts that were based on actual expenditure history. Our buildings was budgeted at $1,798,907, which is a decrease of $8,157 or negative 0.45%. So I will also note, similar to the technology account, the buildings, grounds, and vehicles departments all align with our school board approved facilities plan. Similar to our technology director, Jason Saltmarsh, our facilities director, John Gamache, takes great care to present a facilities plan for the care, maintenance, preventive maintenance for, and construction for the Winnacunnet campus, as well as a financial plan to even out fluctuations as we move forward and to plan accordingly. So the decrease in buildings is due to a reduction in our renovations account to push back projects costs due to cost considerations and reductions in repair and maintenance, training, supplies, and heating fuel accounts. And these are all based on actual expenditure history. These reductions were offset by increases in our staff salary cost of living adjustment, step increases, consulting services for our roof and HVAC plans that are part of the technology plan and are included on an annual basis or nearly annual basis, as well as the continuation of our auditorium improvement plan. Our grounds budget is $287,600, which is an increase of $4,680 or 1.65%. And this reflects an increase in grounds repair for some very necessary irrigation repairs and rework, as well as the purchase of a mower. And these costs were offset by a reduction in snow removal and parking lot maintenance accounts based on actual expenditure history. Our vehicles budget is $24,934, which is a decrease of $1,066 or 4.10% reduction. And this reflects the actual cost of the new van lease, which did come in less than what we had originally budgeted during the last budget cycle. Our security services account has been budgeted at $2 to keep that account open. Additionally, our transportation budget is $1,102,476, which is an increase of $66,622, or 6.43%. So this increase is primarily due to our special education transportation. Again, without these special education costs, they are based on IEP services, which are mandated by state and federal law. And additionally, the remainder of this increase reflects our second year of a 5-year contract with First Student, which supplies our regular education, athletic, field trip, and other transportation services. Our debt service is budgeted at $1,968,932, which is a decrease of $3,764, or 0.19% reduction. This account provides for the principal and interest payments on the bond issue for the building project. I will note that the last payment is scheduled for August of 2024, so that is coming up shortly. Also, due to refinancing, we will have received a total of $522,657,000 in refunds over this entire 20-year amortization term. Our employee benefits is budgeted at $6,223,597, which is an increase of $151,327, or 2.49%. So this increase is primarily due to our health insurance premium. We did see a low 1.8% guaranteed maximum rate, as well as increases in our FICA and retirement accounts due to the aforementioned salary increases. I will note that we did see some savings in our health insurance. Even though it was an increase, we did mitigate some of those costs based on our migration off of the high-cost Blue Choice plan. This was part of last year's collective bargaining agreement for teachers, where that has been removed in year 2. So we're already starting to see people move off that plan. Additionally, we have removed that plan from the offering for non-union staff. So we're also seeing those staff members come off those high-cost plans. So we're seeing a reduction in premiums, but we also hope to see long-term a return in savings on the actual costs of our claim history, as we hope that our employees will start to shop around a little bit more, participate more in these consumer-driven plans. As we know, health insurance is a significant cost. It's continued to rise. We were fortunate that there was a low increase this year, but going forward, we anticipate we don't see any reason why health insurance won't increase. So these are the types of steps that we are taking to try to mitigate those increases going forward. Our interfund transfer reflects a transfer from the general fund into the school nutrition fund. So those are two. The general fund are reflects the costs or the budget to operate the school. Then there's a school nutrition fund, which is the food service program. Those are separate funds when we look at it from an accounting standpoint. So if the school nutrition account runs a deficit, we are required by law to transfer funds from the general fund into the school nutrition fund to cover that cost. A number of years ago, you will recall that the school nutrition fund here at Winnacunnet was running at a significant deficit, upwards of over $100,000 a year. Once that was identified, we took action to remediate that problem. We looked at ways we could cut costs, increase revenue. We had some new management, which was very effective in solving this problem. We have a great program over there. Our food services manager, Ed Como, is doing a fantastic job, and we do anticipate either breaking even or having a surplus for this coming year. We did these last 2 years under his supervision. So we have budgeted $1, which is a decrease of $4,999, or 99.98% decrease. Our food service account budget is $585,089, which is an increase of $5,264, which is 0.91%. And this increase is due to our staff salary cost of living adjustment as well as step increases. So that brings us to the default budget. Our default budget for Winnacunnet is $28,389,340, which is $180,246,000 less than the proposed operating budget. As you know, the default budget is a prior year budget, either reduced or increased based on debt service contracts or other obligations, and then reduced by any one-time expenditures. So, should the operating budget fail at ballot, we will go to the default budget, which would be $180,000 less than what the school board and the budget committee is bringing forth to the voters. I mentioned this because I want to emphasize the importance of passing the operating budget. $180,000 cut from the budget would be a significant reduction. As you heard, there were many reductions in this budget. I counted myself saying reduction based on actual expenditure history probably 15, 20 times through that budget. There's not much discretionary funds in this budget. Should we go to the default budget, we would most likely need to look at a reduction in staff. So that is important. I will also note that there is the full default budget in the packet that's at the back of the room, which shows the variation from the operating prior year to the default, as well as the reason for the variation. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Any questions? Please come to the microphone. Identify yourself.
Max Abramson, 14 Charles Henry Way, Seabrook. I noticed that you broke out the special ed budget and talked about IEPs, that it's over $3.9 million now. How many children or how many students are enrolled in the special ed program?
I don't have that figure off the top of my head. You can certainly email me if you have any specific questions like that.
Okay, does anyone have, is there any way to figure out the total cost per student in special ed?
We're consistent with the state average of identified students.
The question was asked, and you can come and identify yourself and speak if you wish to, or someone else.
Sure. The answer that Dr. Kelly provided from here is that our percentages of students among the student body who have an IEP is consistent with state averages. What we spend on a student in special education as an average isn't a relevant number, because every child is unique in what the services are that they receive. We have students, they're detailed in the budget, who are in out-of-district placements. Some of those cost $25,000, some of them cost $400,000. So it depends on their particular needs. But our numbers of students who qualify for our IEPs and their placements in particular programs mirror that of state averages.
When I do citizens petitions, people ask me a lot about the town budget, the school district budget, Winnacunnet budget. And one of the questions I'm getting asked more and more often is, how much is special ed costing? And so I thought I would come to the meeting tonight to try to figure out if somebody knew how much special ed costs per year per student.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Good evening, Don Jan, Hampton Falls. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. You pointed out that approximately $800,000 was spending that you really didn't have any control over. It's like a 1 year, happenstance. And every year we have a budget, and every year there are items like that. This can't help it, it's part of what you guys do. But when you have something that happens and you push your budget up 3.5% in a time when, that's seems to be pretty high for what you all have experienced, you seem to have the luxury of saying it's mandated and you can just go to the taxpayers, you throw it in the budget, and it will be paid. Now, but as taxpayers, we don't have that same luxury that when we get that tax bill, we can just say our incomes go up by whatever, 3% or 4%, whatever, to cover that. So I would hope and I would expect that you would look at the budget when you have a year when you have, some might be extraordinary, $800,000 increase, that you would find ways that you make the tough decisions to bring that budget back down to where, the people in the Winnacunnet SAU area, 21 area, are made whole. And I don't seem to feel that today. I look at the board's proposal and the budget committee proposal, and you guys mirror each other. It's like maybe somewhere in the deliberation, somebody made a reduction of some kind, but when you two got together, I don't see anything. It's line for line, item for item, you agree on everything. And I can have a real hard time feeling that you made that huge effort to help out the taxpayers who can't, well, Hampton Falls, but then all of SAU 21. So, given that, I'd like to make a motion for the body, and I would like to reduce your operating budget to the default budget, so the same number, which would be $28,389,340.
You put that in writing? You put that in writing for the clerk?
Yeah, please.
There's been a motion by Mr. Janik to amend the operating budget, Article 1, to the amount of $28,389,340. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the amendment?
You have
Council?
secure a second on that?
Is there a second? Mr. Abramson, second. Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Abramson?
I guess it's more of a parliamentary question. Is it in order for us to have a default budget or to have a budget that's the same dollar amount as the default budget, if that would take away the voters' ability to choose in March? In other words, is it legal to do it?
If the body wishes to amend the warrant pursuant to the proposed amendment, then the default budget would equal the operating budget. The same number of people.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mike Edgar, 70 Sarah's Hampton. We've been going through the budget now, and we give the explanations for everything. I think it's kind of arbitrary just to knock it back to what the default budget was. Let's leave it up to the citizens. Whether we're going to go with the budget that's been worked on and proposed, or fall back to the budget. Let's let them decide. it'd be 149 Drinkwater Road, Hampton Falls. Are people on the budget committee satisfied, people on the budget committee satisfied with the budget that's brought forward here tonight? And has it been scrutinized fully by both the budget committee and the school board and the SAU office prior to coming to this meeting? And, yes.
Someone want to respond to Mr. Bean's question?
Thank you. Tony Delano, I'm the representative from Hampton Falls, and the chairperson. Yes, the budget committee is satisfied. We attended all of the sessions at the school board level, as well as the budget committee sessions. We asked questions on many line items throughout the school board sessions that, I guess, as private citizens at that point, in preparation for the budget committee meeting. So we went into those meetings knowing full well all the research that had been done, the debate that happened, which was rigorous on items. Matt has done a very thorough job on every single line item in there, researched diligently, looking at past history and adjusting in many cases downward to reflect actual expenditures. So there's not much else we could ask could be done to put forth an appropriate budget. And having seen the whole process, myself and I believe Jen Blankenship as well, the vice chairperson. When we went through with the whole budget committee, additional questions were asked, and there was consensus that the budget was appropriate, well-researched, and for the items that we could change, they were good. So we were very happy with the process and the work done. We're confident that it's a good budget.
Thank you. Paul, please. Well, hearing that and understanding exactly how budgets are built, it seems to me that this is just destructive to have any cuts made in this thing after the fact, and I would hope that the body here today would vote no on this amendment.
Any further discussion on the amendment? So I'm going to call for a vote. You have to be a resident of Hampton, Seabrook, Hampton Falls, and Northampton to be a member of the Winnacunnet School District. It's going to go on the honor system. So, and ask all voters to raise their hand when appropriate. If you're in favor of the amending budget, amending the operating budget as proposed in the amendment, please raise your hand. If you're opposed, please raise your hand. Motion fails 22-2. Is there any further discussion on Article 1?
Sorry, I meant to ask this question on the standard report. Winnacunnet tuitions students out and sometimes tuition students in. Do we have the figure for what Winnacunnet charges to tuition students in from out of district? I have a figure from a couple years.
It's roughly $19,600 to be exact, but it's about 19,600.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, Article 1 will appear on the official ballot as read. I recognize Mr. Marsh for a motion to restrict reconsideration.
I move to restrict recommendation on Article 1.
Mr. Gann for a second.
Second.
Motion to restrict reconsideration. All those in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, hands down. All those opposed, hands up. consideration. Article 2, to see if the school district will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Winnacunnet School Board and the Seacoast Educational Support Personnel Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the proposed staffing levels. For the year 2021, estimated salary increase, including salary-driven benefits, is $13,143. Estimated health insurance increases is 0. The total estimated cost, $13,143. For year 2021 to 22, the estimated salary increase, including salary-driven benefits, is $13,311. Health insurance increases is 0. The total estimated cost of $13,311. For year 2022 to 23, estimated salary increases would be $6,670. 0 estimated health insurance increases with a total estimated cost of $6,670. And for 2023-24, $6,770 for the estimated salary increase, 0 for estimated health increase, for a total estimated cost of $6,707. And to further raise and appropriate the sum of $13,143 for the 2020-21 school year, such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increases in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at proposed staffing levels in accordance with the current collective bargaining. This requires a majority request recommended by the school board 5-0 and recommended by the budget committee 6-0. And I recognize Lee Marsh for a motion.
I move to open the article for discussion.
Dave Gann for a second.
Second.
We want to recognize Mr. Hvac for the presentation or explanation of the warrant article.
Thank you. So this proposed collective bargaining agreement is meant to is for invaluable CESPA employees. So these are our paraprofessionals who work the front lines directly with our students on an everyday basis. They are supporting and helping our special education students who are our most vulnerable population, as well as our regular education students. We are, as I had mentioned earlier, we are moving forward with our competency-based education initiative. As part of that implementation, there's significantly more individualized and personalized teaching that is necessary. So this type of employee is essential for the success of all of our students. I can't tell you how how many times I've heard teachers just expound about how amazing the paraprofessional in their classroom is, and the amount of work that they put in at a very low cost. So these are employees that have an annual salary of just over $21,000. So when we're looking at percentage increases, it's a smaller sum of money and a smaller investment for a significant bang for your buck. So when we looked at this, we want to address compensation for these extremely valuable employees, but we also wanted to look at how we could change or adjust some of the contract language to get better output and manage our buildings better. And then finally, our main priority was to address health insurance. And that is not only to help attract and retain these employees, but also it safeguards the district against potential Affordable Care Act IRS penalties. So I mentioned health insurance because this affects the SAU. I will note that at Winnacunnet, all of our paraprofessionals do receive health insurance, but the SAU as a whole is exposed, and the SAU as a whole does not offer health insurance for these employees. So this is a 4-year agreement with a year 1 cost of living adjustment of 2.5%. Years 2 through 4 drop down to 1% cost of living adjustments. Additionally, there is an added top step 11 in year 2. So you will see that as part of this approach, we did a tiered strategy to roll in health insurance for our paraprofessionals at our other school districts, which actually kept costs lower for the Winnacunnet School District due to the fact that there is health insurance offered here. So what we've structured is an offer of single coverage for these employees for our lowest cost site of service plan, and then we tiered up the premium percentage that the employer or the district pays for. So in year 2, the district will pay 40% of the premium, year 3, 60%, and year 4, which is what we're targeting as the end result, is 80%. This is still significantly lower than the health offerings that we do offer all of our other employees across the district, but this is what we're presenting is a plan that is fiscally responsible, that we feel that we've ramped up, that we hope will pass with our communities. I will also note that our CESPA employees who are already grandfathered in, particularly our Winnacunnet employees, have been grandfathered in under the old plan. So when I mention Aca tax penalties, this is for offering affordable health care. So according to the DOL, the Department of Labor, any employee that works 35 hours or more, 30 hours or more, needs to be offered affordable health care. Under our CBA, it's 35 hours or more. So we, in our K-8 schools, hire these employees at 34.9 hours, just under that 35-hour threshold. So they do not receive any health insurance. However, that does not alleviate we're still exposed to those IRS penalties. So we've had 2 districts who've already been levied to fairly significant penalties, and that will be ongoing until we do offer health insurance to these employees. Additionally, we have adjusted contract language to better manage our employees. So, a byproduct of keeping these hours at a minimum means that there's little time for these employees to be integrated within the team at Winnacunnet and within our school districts. So what we've done is we are assigning one 30-minute work period for our CESPA employees to complete any necessary paperwork. So this includes Medicaid reimbursement, which is necessary for us to receive that revenue in from the federal government or the state, as well as allow them to attend relevant meetings or any other activities assigned by the supervisor. Additionally, we'll be requiring these employees to attend a monthly staff meeting or department meeting after school hours. This is a great opportunity for them to, again, be part of the team, maybe get some valuable information, PD, whatever that might be, but they are part of the team and we need to treat them as such. Some other changes that we've included addresses sick and personal leave. We have a culture at SAU 21 where employees, generally speaking, not just CESPA employees, have a use it or lose it mentality. So we did make some changes to try to minimize that mentality and the use of sick and personal leave. So we did include some abuse language. We've capped personal days that can be taken per day per school in the months of May and June. We've streamlined our sick bank leave. We've added additional rollover of sick leave to encourage rollover as opposed to utilizing it. So what does what does this mean from a cost perspective? Year one for Winnacunnet is just over $13,000, as well as in year two. Years 3 and 4, where we've dropped down to that 1%, is just under $7,000. Now, what does this mean to the school district? Well, these are employees that, as I had mentioned earlier, are extremely important to a vulnerable population. These are students that need consistency. They need high-quality staff working with them on a daily basis. Well, we are seeing a 25% turnover rate across the SAU, and this is due, in large part, to the benefits we offer. That is the number one cited reason for people for these paraprofessionals leaving our district is benefits. People need health insurance. Additionally, we're seeing that when we go through the hiring process, we're having significant issues hiring or finding qualified personnel to fill these roles. It's oftentimes months before we find an appropriate candidate. And oftentimes, when they hear that there's no benefits, they turn us down. So those issues combined with some competitive imbalances when you look at comparable school districts that do offer better compensation, do offer benefits, leads us to a real handicap. So this is a real effect on our students. And I can't stress how important these employees are to our students on a daily basis. Now, why don't we offer these benefits already? Why don't we offer a competitive compensation rate? Well, we have some difficulty in the collaborative agreement, the nature of our collective bargaining agreement within SAU 21. So we have a unique situation where we have difficulty passing these CBAs because each district needs to pass this CBA in order for it to pass for any one district. So it needs to pass on the Winnacunnet ballot, but it also has to pass on the Seabrook school district ballot, the Hampton Falls, the Northampton, and the Southampton. It fails on any of those ballots, and it fails. So historically, we've had difficulty passing it. So we hope that this is a small step to getting to the point where we can offer a competitive compensation package with benefits to these extremely important employees. Thank you.
Any discussion?
Max Abramson, 14 Charles Henry Way. I want to ask people to support this one because of the low cost item, and this does help our paraprofessionals and our support staff. They do a lot of work, and we get a lot of bang for the buck for the amount of effort that they put in. I did have two questions. Maybe I didn't understand one of the issues in the presentation, that the Obamacare penalties that go into effect. We went over this in Seabrook, and when I first ran for state rep, I had everyone telling me to repeal Obamacare and Common Core, and I had to say that I'm running for state, not federal. But I read that the Obamacare penalties had been removed by a Trump administration rule recently, so is that still going to take effect this year?
So the Trump administration removed the individual penalty. They did not remove the employer. So there's the ESRP penalty, which has not been removed. And the excise tax, which is the Cadillac tax for high insurance, has also been removed. But this unaffordable healthcare tax is still in effect.
Okay. Do you have an estimate of what the total amount would be if this doesn't pass? Or if we didn't provide health care coverage for them, do we have an estimate of what the total penalty would be from the federal
total
government?
penalty on an annual basis. So just so you're aware, the IRS flags these penalties if the individual goes into the marketplace to seek out health insurance, and that's how it gets flagged. So if every employee were flagged, it's about $150,000 on an annual basis.
Okay, and so the total cost of this is like $13,000 a year, so it's probably potentially less than if we just sat on our hands and did nothing.
there's a possibility, although I will note that's unlikely that every single person would go to the marketplace because they may have a spouse or may decide not to opt in for health insurance.
Some households.
But yes,
have it.
there's an absolute possibility that the cost of penalties could be more than the cost of the CBA. You're right.
Okay, follow-up? And the other issue that I noticed was that there's a provision in this to pay to send one of them or send some of them to teachers' unions meetings, but that would be a taxpayer expense, that would be on their normal pay.
So what's included is there's one member of the association will be allowed to go to the Assembly of Delegates as part of their association, which we do feel is important for them to both express the SAU 21's viewpoint on paraprofessional items, as well as have that networking ability to bring forth ideas and PD back to the school district.
Follow-up?
Good question.
Does that violate the district's rule on any funds being used for any political advocacy for perhaps political positions?
It does not.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion on Article 2? If not, Article 2, we do have one? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Linda Libby, 127 Atlantic Avenue, Northampton, New Hampshire. I don't want to sound like a broken record because Matt did such a great job with his presentation, but I just wanted to reiterate. So I'll just give you some background. I'm the president of the Seacoast Education Support Personnel Association. We have about 100 paras that are part of our bargaining unit throughout SAU 21. And, you know, as he said, Winnacunnet, we have the luxury of having had our health benefits here. But in my talks throughout the community, and I talk to people all over the community because I actually have 2 jobs. I work here full-time at the school, but then I have a second job because, as Matt said, we have our salaries, the average salary is $21,000. So I work 60 hours a week, every week. My second job is at a bank. And when I talk to people in the community and I tell them that Hampton Falls, Northampton, Seabrook, and Southampton, and did I say Hampton Falls, does not offer health benefits to the paras, they are absolutely astounded. You know, that these are students that our paras are working every day in the schools from beginning of the day to the end of the day alongside the teachers, but the school district doesn't offer health benefits. And this has been a topic of conversation at, I can't tell you how many bargaining sessions we've had over the years, and it's been a really tough thing to discuss. So we came together this year, we realized how important it was. There was give and take on both sides. As you can see, you know, it's fiscally responsible. We've got some of our paras are taking a 1% cost of living raise, which is very minimal, just so we can get this passed and make it palatable to the voters. When Matt brought up the average salary as $21,000, it really, I was thinking last night at the Hampton Falls Deliberative that my first job out of college in 1985, I was making $25,000 at Jordan Marsh in a management role in 1985. But here today in 2019, we have paraprofessionals that are working every day in classrooms supporting some of the most at-risk students for this low salary. So it's a very important role. We work very collaboratively with the teachers. We take a team approach, and our main goal is the success of the students. We care very deeply about these students, and a lot of us have just a personal commitment and passion and dedication towards seeing these students succeed. when I do surveys of all of the paras in the district, the number one thing that was cited is health insurance, health insurance, health insurance. I ran into a woman the other night that years ago was a para at Northampton Elementary School, and her salary was $17,000. And she told me that she needed health insurance, and the district said, well, you can buy it. And they said, that'll be $21,000. And so she was going to have to pay for her health insurance and work for free. And so she said, I can't stay here anymore. So she left being a para, a job that she loved, and she went on and worked in another job, and she ended up getting breast cancer, and thank goodness she had health insurance. But that's just one story of many. And as Matt said, we have 25% turnover in the other districts because they're going to all of the other surrounding towns who all offer health insurance. You know, Portsmouth, Dover, Durham, Exeter, Stratham, all of our comparable schools, they all offer the health insurance. So we're losing great people to these other school districts. And so I can't stress how important this is to pass. So I'm imploring the voters in SAU 21 to please support your hardworking paras. And I just wanted to end with this quote that I really personally believe in, that every day, I know our paras, we all believe very sincerely that every student is one caring adult away from being a true success story in their life. So we're just working really hard every day to make that happen. So thank you for your time.
Any further discussion on Article 2? Not. Article 2 will appear on the warrant, on the official ballot as written. I recognize Henry Marsh for a motion to restrict reconsideration.
I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 2.
Recognize David Gann for a second.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Hands down opposed. Article 2 is restricted from reconsideration. Article 3, to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $231,910 to continue the HVAC replacement project at Winnacunnet High School. This project is part of the facility plan adopted by the school board. This will be a non-lapsing appropriation per RSA 32:7, Roman 6, and will not lapse until the project is complete or June 30th, 2022, whichever is earlier. Majority vote required. Recommended by the school board 5-0. Recommended by the budget committee 6-0. Recognized Fran Henderson for the motion.
I move to open the article for discussion.
Nice Heidi for a second.
I second that.
Been moved and second, open for discussion. I want to recognize Mr. Farrar for discussion.
Thank you. So the proposed HVAC upgrades project reflects the scheduled upgrade of the D-Wing to a functioning HVAC system. The project is part of our ongoing HVAC replacement cycle. That does include ongoing HVAC replacement, upgrades, controls integration, and duct cleaning as the systems reach end of life. The HVAC replacement cycle helps minimize large one-time expenditures for multiple system replacements and levels the spending over multiple years. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Article 3 will be placed on the official ballot as written. I recognize Fran Henderson.
I move to restrict reconsideration of, I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 3.
Heidi Tarsi.
I second that.
Moved in second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 3 is restricted from reconsideration. I neglected at the outset to recognize also Dr. David Hobbs, who's up front here. My apologies for that. Article 4, to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $85,000 to replace the auditorium sound system. The current system is not fully functional and it is undersized for the space and design of the auditorium. This will be a non-lapsing appropriation per RSA 32:7, Roman 6, and will not lapse until the project is complete, or June 30th, 2022, whichever is earlier. Majority vote required, recommended by the school board, 5-0, recommended by the budget committee, 6-0. I recognize Heidi Tarsina for a motion.
I move to open the article for discussion.
Recognize Ms. LaFawn.
I second.
Article's been moved and seconded, open for discussion. Mr. Farrar.
Thank you. So the auditorium sound system replacement project represents a full replacement and upgrade of the auditorium sound system. The current system reached end of life and is not properly engineered and designed for optimal sound acoustics, which does result in multiple dead zones or poor quality acoustics throughout the auditorium. The new proposed sound system is designed to resolve these acoustical problems and provide the proper system for both in-school and outside organizations. Thank you.
Any discussion? Any questions? Recognize Tarsina for a motion.
I move
Oh,
to,
I forgot to say it will appear on the ballot as written.
I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 4.
Ms. LaFawn.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Thumbs down. All opposed. Article 4 is restricted from reconsideration. Article 5. To see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate $75,000 to be added to the existing special education expendable trust fund, with up to $75,000 to be funded from the June 30th, 2020 unassigned fund balance available for transfer on July 1, 2020. No additional amount to be raised from taxation. Recommended by the school board, 5-0. Recommended by the budget committee, 6-0. Recognize Leslie LaFawn for a motion.
I move to open the article for discussion.
Fran Henderson for a second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Farrar.
Thank you. So budgeting and associated funding for special education continues to present fiscal challenges to Winnacunnet and our other districts within SAU 21. The Special Education Expendable Trust was established for the purpose of funding unanticipated special education costs. As such, it is beneficial to replenish the Special Education Expendable Trust to safeguard and mitigate future unexpected costs. I will note that funding for the Special Education Expendable Trust does come from any potential available year-end fund balance and is not raised via additional taxation. I will also point out that the balance of the Special Education Trust is at $319,325. Our target is $400,000. This was updated this current fiscal year from an original target amount of $300,000. We've updated that to reflect the cost escalation for out-of-district placements. So the $300,000 was originally targeted based on a worst-case scenario out-of-district placement. However, over the years, those costs have increased substantially. Here at Winnacunnet, for example, we have 2 students that are well over that threshold. There's one at $450,000 and one at $475,000. So $400,000 was a conservative target that we did update to reflect actual expenditures. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Then Article 5 will appear on the ballot as written. Recognize Ms. LaFawn.
I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 5.
Ms. Henderson.
Second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Hands up. All opposed? Article 5 is restricted from reconsideration. Article 6. To see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate $75,000 to be added to the existing health care expendable trust fund, with up to $75,000 to be funded from the June 30th, 2020 unassigned fund balance available for transfer at July 1, 2020. No additional amount to be raised from taxation. Recommended by the school board, 5-0. Recommended by the budget committee, 6-0. Recognize Heidi Tarsina for a motion.
I move to open the article for discussion.
Fran Henderson,
Second that.
been moved and moved and second open discussion. Recognize Mr. Farrar again.
Thank you. So the Healthcare Expendable Trust was established for the purpose of funding and safeguarding the school district against increasing health insurance premium costs or unanticipated health insurance related expenditures. The Healthcare Expendable Trust also allows for mitigation of large potential budget increases due to rising health insurance rates. I also want to note that the Healthcare Expendable Trust does come from any potential available year-end fund balance and is not raised via additional taxation. The current balance of the Healthcare Trust is at $154,029 with a target of $300,000. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Article 6 will appear as written on the ballot. Recognize Ms. Daracina for a motion.
I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 6.
Ms. Henderson for,
I second that.
all those in favor? All opposed? Article 6 is restricted from reconsideration. Article 7, to see whether police officers shall be permitted to enforce federal immigration laws, comply with immigration detainer requests, or contact federal immigration authorities to conduct a background investigation on anyone arrested on evidence of any other crime. No school district nor town official shall establish sanctuary cities policies that prevent immigration laws from being enforced by any police officer nor federal immigration officer in the performance of their job. 4 towns, Cheshire County and the City of Manchester, have enacted sanctuary city policies for illegal immigrants without notifying the general public beforehand. A yes vote is to stop our communities from being turned into sanctuary cities. Citizen petition by 25 or more registered voters of the Winnacunnet School District. Recognize Max Abrams.
Max Abramson, Seabrook. The reason that I put...
Do you wish to move to open discussion?
Oh, I moved to open discussion on the petition.
All right, second? Second.
I'll second that.
Go ahead.
So, there have already been 4 towns, plus Cheshire County, the City of Manchester, and a number of other states, where they switched their town policy to be a sanctuary city, instructing police officers that they weren't to comply with federal immigration laws. And people were very, very angry when they found out that that had happened. But the reason that they were angry, I think, is that there hadn't been a public notice, that there hadn't been a public meeting, there hadn't been an opportunity for public discussion. So this one, similar to a citizen's petition from a couple of years ago, is kind of like a poll where we just kind of ask people for their public opinion. However, the real intent of the citizen's petition is to be able to have people be able to discuss this between now and March, and also kind of put the public on notice that this is an issue now. We did handle a similar bill on sanctuary cities in earlier this session up in Concord. And I asked the question on social media, do you think we should be turned into a sanctuary city? And of course, about 100% of the responses, there were over 200 responses, and every single one said absolutely not. But if there's even one person who does, every single person has the right, I think, to vote on the question. Immigration is one of the issues that affects you more than probably any other single one policy issue, and I felt that it was worthwhile to just open the issue up and let people talk about it. Oops, I'm sorry.
Anyone else wish to speak?
It's amazing to me that we're at the home of the warriors. We're the only people that really should be talking about anybody about being immigrants. That's the first thing I would note. And secondly, I'd be happy to say no to this. One of the things that bothers me about this particular citizen petition, I know we can't amend it, I wish we could.
You can be amended.
a citizen's petition, not without changing, you can't change the intent. So the way I want to amend it, Mr. Moderator, is to change the intent. But,
Well, I'll ask legal counsel to comment on that.
Like any other, well, I shouldn't say all, you couldn't amend Article 2 because it's protected by statute, but this is an article that can be amended.
well, if they want to get a sense of the state, then they can run a referendum if they'd like to do that. But I really don't think it's a place to have it in a school. And one of the things that bothers me about this is that it describes people as being illegal. There are no human beings on the planet that are illegal. There are things that are illegal. There are substances that are illegal. And no human being is illegal. And I'm thoroughly disgusted with the fact that somebody would use that term to get some sort of reaction. It's a loaded question. It's inappropriate for a school ballot question.
Hi, it's Mike Edgar again from Hampton. Besides just eliminating this, I think there's some fundamental faults in it that talks about school districts nor town official. Are you also running the town here? Which towns? How does that pertain? Having this in a school board warrant article. The other is, where's the definition of sanctuary city? It means a lot of things to different people. How can we just eliminate something that we're not defining? I don't know if there's a way, just to put this as warrant article number 7, citizens petition, and then just delete everything else. I can give you something for that. But I think it's just going to cause so much trouble. If the town goes and passes it, I'd like to ask if there's an opinion on that, if there's some difficulty with the way it's written, let alone the content.
Legal counsel.
You cannot remove the article, to answer your earlier comment. It can be amended. It is not enforceable or binding, so the petitioner has characterized it as something akin to a poll. I certainly think you can question the appropriateness of this subject matter on this ballot, this Winnacunnet Cooperative School District ballot. I asked the superintendent during the public meeting that preceded this deliberative session whether the school had ever had to confront any of the issues that are covered by the warrant article, and he answered in the negative. But it is an article that we have a statute that says if the citizen petitions an article and gets the requisite number of signatures, we are required to place it on our ballot on the pains of a penalty. In order to avoid that sanction, this article appears on your ballot. But it can be amended with some restrictions.
Can you amend it to, or could I amend it to add another paragraph to it to try to express my opinions about the question if in fact it can be? Why is this on about the town? It doesn't pertain to the town. What? And what's the definition of a sanctuary city? Could I write one saying I don't want any dog and cats to be allowed on school property? And if I get 25 people to sign it, does that mean that it has to go on the ballot?
Yes.
It's a good question in light of this particular article. And part of my role, as I understand it, is to keep the school district out of trouble. And so we have a statute that says that 25 people or more put a petition on. So I wouldn't recommend putting additional language into this article. Certainly you could move to delete the last 2 sentences of this petition article, because nowhere else on the warrant do we tell what a yes vote does or what a no vote does. nor do we, in any other place on this warrant, talk about what's going on relative to HVAC, for example, in Cheshire County, or expendable trust funds in Manchester. So I deem the last two sentences of this petition article to be superfluous, and I would give you my legal opinion that if you remove those last two sentences, you are not removing any subject matter, and that's one of the things that we have to consider when anyone makes an amendment, that we can't remove subject matter.
Thank you, thanks for that. Would it also be proper to, after, in this, one of the sentences that would remain, if I was able to get that, what you suggested, said was okay passed, is to eliminate the no town official? This place, you know, the school doesn't have any jurisdiction over the town. Will that cause does that potentially cause a problem if this is a warrant article is suggesting that the town also cannot do this?
Not to be redundant, I don't believe it's binding in any fashion. I understand the distinction between a school district article that references town officials, but in order to keep the school district out of trouble, I wouldn't delete that language. I leave it intact. I don't believe it's enforceable. I think the town officials in all the communities in the Winnacunnet Cooperative School District would take issue with this school board attempting to dictate their responsibilities. In the town of Seabrook, in the town of Hampton Falls, Northampton. And so I would subtract, but I wouldn't get into an area where it might be suggested that we take subject matter away on a non-binding article, which the petitioner has described essentially as a poll. And I would ask the petitioner to consider the fact that when these questions are placed on the Winnacunnet ballot, that there are printing costs, counting costs, so that if there's a way to get the poll answered, perhaps those should be explored other than the Winnacunnet ballot.
Okay, thank you. If I can continue? Would it be proper for me to make a motion now to eliminate the last two sentences of this warrant article? Do I have to give you something in writing to say that?
Yes.
I request support for this amendment. Thank you.
Mike Edgar has moved to amend warrant article number 7 to delete the last two sentences. Is there a second of that?
Second.
Mr. Beatty has seconded it. We're open for discussion on the amended version. Any amendment? Mr. Jackson?
Well, it is just it's meant to be a non-binding poll. Even if there were an RSA to refer to, I wouldn't have referred to it, and I would have just left it as a non-binding poll. This is the most efficient way that I know where all the voters in our area can communicate to all the elected officials. Some school districts, there's some cities or towns, and including the Cheshire County, that have gone ahead and done this without necessarily consulting the general public. They just kind of did it. And the reason for the last two sentences, the reason that I included those in there is just to explain to people who are reading this what this is about. The fact that Cheshire County, the city of Manchester, and other jurisdictions, state of Massachusetts has become a sanctuary state. I think Rhode Island has become a sanctuary state. There's been a number of states and a number of jurisdictions where they've just gone ahead and done this. What a sanctuary city's policy does is it instructs police officers not to comply with federal immigration laws or in some cases, not to contact federal immigration authorities. So they might arrest someone for burglary, or rape, or kidnapping, or car theft, or any number of other crimes, depending on the jurisdiction and depending on the language they put in it. And they actually tell the officer that they can't even respond to emails from ICE officials if they have an immigration detainer request. In some sanctuary cities, they've told police officers that they effectively have to let them go, even if an officer suspects that someone they have in custody might be an illegal immigrant, based on their 5 senses, based on probable cause. And I've been told, and I haven't been able to confirm this, that among the total illegal immigrant population, that there are about 900,000 people with prior felony convictions from other countries who would not have been able to pass the criminal background check in order to come into the country legally. So I think that this is a safety issue for the public. I think it's a safety issue for immigrants who are here, that our ability to attract high-quality immigrants from around the world, as entrepreneurs, as professors, as medical professionals, depends on our ability to maintain a safe country and to maintain safe communities. And I think that we should simply allow police officers to do their job. So the last 2 sentences are just explanatory, but I think that just deleting those would leave some voters confused and less certain about what the intent is. The intent, of course, is just to say, we're not going to tell police how to do their jobs.
All right, the Edgar Amendment removes these 2 sentences. 4 towns, Cheshire County, and the City of Manchester have enacted sanctuary city policies for illegal immigrants without notifying the public beforehand. A yes vote is to stop our communities from being turned into sanctuary cities. We ready for the vote on this? If you're in favor of the Edgar Amendment, you'll raise your hand. Hands down. If you're opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries 16-3. Is there further discussion on Article 7? Then I will read what Article 7 will appear on the ballot as follows. To see whether police officers shall be permitted to enforce federal immigration laws, comply with immigration detainer requests, or contact federal immigration authorities to conduct a background investigation on anyone arrested on evidence of any other crime. No school district nor town official shall establish sanctuary city policies that prevent immigration laws from being enforced by any police officer nor federal immigration officers in the performance of their job. And that's how it will appear on the ballot. With that, we've concluded the warrant. I will note that, is there any other further business? Before I move on, I know that this is Fran Henderson's last meeting is a school board meeting. At least, right?
Also David Gans.
And David Gans also too. And so we want to thank both of them for their service. That's right. I will say that the second part, the deliberative session, the ballot session will be March 10th. And on the ballot this year will be one school board member, a resident of Hampton Falls, for 3 ensuing years. And there's one candidate, Tony Delano. A school board member for 3 years from Seabrook, one candidate, Mike Rabideau. A school board at-large member for 1 year, that's Heidi Terracina. A budget committee member for 3 years from Hampton Falls, that's David Gant. And a budget committee member for 3 years from Hampton Falls. There are 2 candidates, Max Abramson and Patricia O'Keefe. And also finally, a school moderator for 3 years. There's one candidate, that would be me. And with that, the meeting is concluded. Thank you, everybody.